This event shocked the whole world. Disappearance of Mike Mansholt. An unanswered riddle. Where have his organs gone? What are the police hiding? Why are the versions of forensic experts from Malta and Germany not the same? Who is responsible for his disappearance? What really happened that day? This and more in today's release. Welcome to Show Secrets channel. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Happy viewing. During the summer months, young people rush to their first tourist trips on vacation without their parents. 17-year-old Mike from Oldenburg was one of them. He goes to Malta but never returns. This disturbing news reaches his father, Bernd Mansholt in Croatia, as he himself is an avid traveler. Bernd tries to remain calm despite the growing fears. And he is tormented by questions. Why his son Mike didn't come home as planned after vacation? Why was his seat on the plane empty? If we talk about this, then a few thoughts come to mind. Is it being late for the plane or losing a mobile phone? These are normal things for the chaotic life of a 17-year-old teenager. A lot can happen. Mike will probably show up soon, thought his father that day. But his enforced calmness does not last long. Mike's phone isn't answering. Bernd tried to call several times, but to no avail. The unbearable silence is deafening. Another confidence begins to throb louder in his head. Something is wrong. Something must have happened to him. Mike was 17 when he disappeared. He went to Malta on his first parentless leave. At first he spent time with his girlfriend and then extended his stay to explore the island alone. On the day of his disappearance, Mike left the hotel and headed for the harbor. Leaving the hotel, Mike takes a mountain bike at the port. He wants to visit the Kingdom of the Dead, the catacombs in Robot, consisting of ancient tombs. He sends a message via WhatsApp. He never appeared on the network again. 4 days later, the plane that was supposed to take him home from vacation takes off. His mother and sister are waiting for him at the arrivals area in Bremen. At 10 p.m., the flight is delayed, and at the end it is completely cancelled. Was Mike stuck in Frankfurt, where he had to transfer to another plane? Calls to his mobile are unsuccessful. On the same night, Mike's mother reports her son's disappearance to the Oldenburg police. Mike is gone, she says. The police on duty take over the case. A case number is assigned and Mike officially goes missing on July 23, 2016. The policeman enters the characteristics of the young man into the computer to create his profile. Suddenly, the officer flinches. He discovers, according to the internal police system, that a search for Mike has been going on in Malta for 4 days. It says that he has not been seen on the island since the morning when he rented a mountain bike and did not return. His hotel manager also waited 4 days before contacting the police. But no one told the family about it. The Federal Criminal Police Office takes over this case. The search begins. At 3:30 on that fateful night, when Mike's mother was at the police station, the police officer on duty sent his report. The case is assigned immediately with high priority. The mother gives the authorities the photographs, t-shirts, bank account information and his mobile phone number. She says her son had a black Samsung Galaxy Note and a GoPro action camera with him. That same evening, Mike's father collects his things. At dawn, his plane is to land in Malta. Thoughts that he should find his son do not leave him, and he wants to do it himself. His father is involved in search operations. He watches every move of the police as best he can. He trusts them and keeps hope. After a couple of days, the police try to inform Mike's mother of the state of the search, but according to their written report, she is too emotional to speak. In the meantime, the Maltese authorities expanded their search to the neighboring island of Gozo. They also check passenger lists. The police work until late at night. And Bernd Mansholt continues his search on his own. There is a patient at a hospital on the island who contacts him and claims to have seen Mike, although he may have had hallucinations due to medication. Mansholt takes the lead and arrives at the hospital. It seemed to me that I saw his face, the patient says. Then he falls asleep again. Of course, the man didn't see Mike. It was a false trail, one of many. Someone else reports to the police that Mike was seen at the Tiger Bar, a famous drug dealing site, but there are no witnesses. Mike's father is friends with a possible informant, and they travel around the island together distributing photographs, one of which shows Mike wearing a sun hat. On July 26, 2016, a message arrives. On an anonymous tip, a body was found on the island in the Dingley Cliffs. Bernd rushes there. He is asked to wait nearby while the police do their job. An ambulance arrives. Another emergency personnel appears. A white sub with 2 stretchers on the roof moves carefully along the gravel road. This moment was captured on video. It shows how rough the terrain is, how the rocks cascade down to the sea. Then the machine slowly stops. Mike's father stays on the edge of the cliff and watches what happens below. The police take photos for several hours, keeping Bernd up. Finally, they find a body that has long been lying in the sun. Mansholt wants to come over. He just can't wait any longer. Masked workers put the remains in a body bag. Bernd intervenes. He walks over and opens the bag. He tilts his head to the hole and looks inside. He sees a dead person. He realizes that it could be his son. Mansholt wants to come over. He just can't wait any longer. Masked workers put the remains in a body bag. Bernd intervenes. He walks over and opens the bag. He tilts his head to the hole and looks inside. He sees a dead person. He realizes that it could be his son. He feels numb and everything around him seems to be moving in slow motion. The moment of terror seems endless. Sun and darkness, all at the same time. He closes the body bag. A Maltese police officer told him the dead man's back is broken twice. Quick death, he added. Mansholt recalls black holes on the neck and left side of the dead man's face, whose body was already decomposing. DNA analysis is required, only he can confirm whether it was the son of Bernd. Mansholt spends the next days in agony, waiting for the result. He is informed that it was Mike. He is looking over the papers that were handed to him and examines a few handwritten notes. He sees that the possible date of death has already been recorded, and the cause of death not confirmed. On August 8, 2016, his father visits the morgue again when the morgue attendant takes him aside and reports, "No fractures, you are being deceived." On the rocks he was told that his back was broken due to a possible fall. But now, suddenly, not a single bone is broken. This event shocked the whole world. Disappearance of Mike Mansholt. An unanswered riddle. Where did he disappear? Mansholt immediately calls the police officer on duty. He recalls that when he asked her his questions, she was evasive. He trusted the police for a long time, but decided to switch to detective thinking himself. He has so many questions. Was there no hay where the body was found? The hay felt strangely fresh next to the dead body, which they said had lain there for several days. Mansholt quickly asks the farmer who owns the land on which the body was found. But this person has no helpful answers. Mansholt also begins to remember that his son has a camera. And whenever Mike played sports, jumped into water, climbed rocks, he recorded everything on his little video camera. Bernd did not find her at the hotel. When he entered his room, it had already been cleaned. They gave him some of their son's things. According to the case file, 3 pieces of evidence were identified and numbered from this location: a pair of sunglasses, a camera case, and Nike sneakers. Presumably the camera should be located near the rocks. Mike could have filmed his bike ride, his last moments, his accident, or whatever happened. Earlier, the leading investigator told his father that a video camera was hung on the victim's belt. Mansholt returns to the forensics department, where he is handed a camera older than Mike's, with a damaged chip. Also missing and still not found, Mike's gray backpack, his Samsung phone, wallet, credit card, several €100 in cash, his straw hat, and an extra charger. Who took it all? The Maltese don't do that. They must have been tourists, the police said. Suspicion is growing again in Oldenburg. It seems that Malta does not want to find out exactly what happened to the young man. At this time, Mike's father is ready to bring several serious charges against the Maltese authorities. Something is wrong here, he says. He feels like a stranger on this sunny alien island, like debris carried away by the tide. He experienced a terrible, and at the same time mysterious, loss. He wants to know what really happened, although he is afraid of the truth. On August 17, 2016, Mike's body, which was too light, arrives in Bremen and a hearse takes him to Oldenburg. On August 20, Mike Mansholt lies in an open coffin on his 18th birthday. For a funeral director, death is a routine. He opens the zinc coffin and realizes that it must smell like preservative chemicals. But what strikes this person is something else. From this coffin, there is a strong smell of a still decaying body. The undertaker calls the police and reports the body, which seemed too light, was delivered from Malta to Germany. The reason the body is the lung is simply terrible. The brain, heart, lungs, liver, pancreas, adrenal glands, right kidney, bladder, prostate, stomach, small intestine and other organs have disappeared. Of the left kidney, diaphragm, spleen and colon, only fragmented remains remained. Mike was not an organ donor. The father refers to this shocking situation in a letter to the Maltese authorities. Please send me the rest of my son's organs, he pleads. He doesn't even know when or how the organs disappeared. Oldenburg prosecutors confiscate the body. The case of a missing person is now a criminal case. An investigation into the death has already begun in Germany. How much can a grieving father take? The horror seems to grow every day. A broken back that was not broken in the end, missing evidence, a body missing all major organs, and a case missing the truth. He wants to find out what really happened. In addition, based on his father's research, the German prosecutor's office now suspects that Mike may have died due to a third party, which is a possible crime. A second autopsy is scheduled, this time in Oldenburg. The results shock Mansholt. They write to him that his son was not embalmed. No perceptible formal smell was detected, the reports say. And this is the reason that the cause of death can no longer be determined. German forensic experts cannot find anything that could leave behind a 30-meter fall, especially given the fact that there are no major wounds. It is clear that the fall would have been practically impossible, especially since he did not break a single rib. But the Maltese stick to their official statement: the boy fell off a cliff and this is a tragic accident. This is the most likely explanation. After the second autopsy in Germany, the father still cannot rule out that someone killed his son, stole his backpack and put the body of his shirt under a rocky ledge. Of course, it is also possible that Mike crashed and actually died from his injuries. This is the Maltese theory. Due to the degree of decomposition and lack of organs, possible internal causes of death could no longer be detected, such as heat stroke and dehydration. Maybe Mike climbed the rocks. When he climbed with a light mountain bike over his shoulder, he could lose his strength and die from overheating or dehydration. But who will climb these rocks in this heat? Why not just get back on the panoramic road? And why were there no shoes on the shirt? Why was the bike positioned higher up the slope above the body? With a twisted bike seat, a flat rear tire, but pretty much everything else. And of course, there are far more sinister theories about a possible conspiracy to kill, linked to organ trafficking, or at least organ theft. But it's hard to imagine. How could you professionally remove organs in the heat? And why on earth take the brain? In addition, no major relief organization has documented a single case of organ trafficking in Malta. The search for the truth by Mike's father continues. He writes letters to the medical examiner who examined the body in Malta. But he only once replies to the letter written by his father. The organs were gone before the autopsy. They were eaten by rodents, he states grimly. And the t-shirt's brain? It just melted into the sun, the employee says. The responsible German medical examiner states in writing that no bite marks were found on the body. And at least some of the brain remains should have been found with a high degree of certainty, he says. In addition, the Maltese physician would have to properly embalm the body. But this did not happen, so the last marks on the body to determine the cause of death were lost forever. What remains is nothing but questions. German police and forensic experts cannot rule out that third parties were responsible for Mike's death. But so far, no evidence of fatal violence has been found. The authorities were able to clarify, Mike did not die from the impact. His skull is not broken. He was not hit by a blunt object. But other reasons remain in the realm of the impossible: internal bleeding or choking. In addition, the hyoid bone was missing, which may help determine if he was strangled. The father concluded with certainty certain aspects, pure chance is highly illogical. And there is not a single plausible scenario that does not involve a third party. He believes that there were at least two people at the crime scene, Mike and the one who took the backpack. German investigators also said that the state of the body found was completely inconsistent with the fall from a cliff. Plus, if it was an accident, Mike's belongings should have been where they found him. After all, they were with him on the morning of the day he died. And what do you think about this? Write your versions in the comments, and also do not forget to subscribe to the channel.